My name is Chris Ferguson. I'm a 54-year-old living in Kimberley, British Columbia. I took work off for all of 2022 to concentrate on bikepacking. My goals were to challenge myself with a mix of established and self-created routes, hoping for a diversity of environments, landscapes, trail surfaces, the whole gamut. The most common question I get is, what was your favorite part? That's actually pretty easy to answer. But before I get to the details of that favorite part, here are some highlights from the rest of the year. Only problem is it rained for 12 hours last night and the roads are a nightmare. But Christmas Day was okay. Lots of mud to deal with. Been riding the beach for a while and it's getting dusky, so beachfront property it is. Well, the end of day 15, it's been a pretty good one. Probably one of the best, actually. The dream of all bikepackers. Somebody stopped and offered me a cerveza, which of course I took. There's the entranceway up in the Grey Creek Pass. Pretty beautiful day. Grey Creek Pass. I'm not gonna lie to you, it was difficult. I had to do a lot of walking, including using the misery slippers. Start of another rail trail system. The one that'll take me to Christina Lake, or not. I have no idea how this will go. One way to find out. Here comes the spooky tunnel. Starting to see light now at the end of the tunnel, so to speak. Yay! Bikepacking in all its glory. What a difference losing over 3,000 feet makes. The Highlands in the mist, spitting and windy as usual. And yeah, long wet day, lots of mud, quite a bit of hike-a-bike. Also some very good single track, so it was a good mix. My first bothy on a very wet, cold day. I can at least sit in a nice chair-ish. This will do. Oh, nice. I've gained 340 meters in about a kilometer. You can do the math on the grade. After a brutal hike-a-bike, a bit of payback. Sorta. Ah, fuck. This was probably one of the best mornings yet. This is more like it. Amazing. Day 2 on Capital Trail. It could not be any different than the Highlands. Riding a snowmobile trail along the north coast. Crazy strong winds, not much of a choice between that and black flies. Very far east in Quebec, very desolate landscape, but I also think a beautiful landscape. Waited a day and a half of wind and rain for this, but pretty awesome launch conditions. We'll see how this goes. This is one of the biggest crossings here. A little over 100 meters into my first portage. I've been thigh deep in bog, head deep in alder, thick as anything. Well, after fighting headwinds, I've decided when I reach the refuge that I would call it a night. What an amazing day. Getting rid of the rack. Gonna put in some new brake pads and otherwise, change the gearing so it's easier in the back. And as I feared, getting out of there up to here was nearly straight up. Oh well, hopefully it'll improve. Bit of a dreary morning on the Trans-Labrador, but still beautiful. Parents' backyard, and just down this slope a short ways is a single track that will take me onto the route. Very wet road or rail grade and a very wet day. Whoa, I got on the front wheel there a bit.
They're in deep.
So, mission accomplished with most of those challenges and just diversity and amazing riding all over the place. There were a fair number of days with Type 2 fun and even some Type 3 sections, especially with the pack rafting portion. So now, on to the favorite. In 2016, I toured Newfoundland and Southern Labrador, including a stop at Ransom. This World Heritage facility celebrates the discovery that Vikings had been there 500 years before Columbus crossed the Atlantic. There I learned much, including about a 50-kilometer-long beach in eastern Labrador that many had believed was the Wonderstrand or Wonder Shore that was mentioned in the sagas about Eric the Red. I knew I had to get there someday. In typical fashion, things kind of came together at the last minute. It was already well into the evening last night when the owners of the campground came through with William, who just dropped me off here at the point. After years of planning and hoping, it's awesome to be on Wonderstrand and to get going. I'm right at the very southern cape, and we'll see how things go. Most technical descent by far has been down this steep wall and onto that gravel beach. It was pretty much full-on scrambling. Good. Well, a few hundred meters in front is the end of the sand of Wonderstrand. Mission number 1 complete. Getting back is number 2. Well, today went pretty well. I'm quite pleased with it. I started actually pedaling at 8:45, and then I had to stop for 2 hours and 40 minutes because of a high tide river crossing issue there. So just milled about, watched out for bears. Yeah, I was crotch deep and having to hold the bike over my head when I actually did it, so you know, it still felt a little bit sketchy, even giving the tide a little bit of time. The biggest of the portages over Cape Porcupine, it went mostly smoothly. It was really boggy and wet. I think a lot of it was snowmobile route that I just stumbled on. Hardly any bush to push, and got going again. One or two of the other ones involved some pretty steep rock going up and down. You had to watch your feet for sure. And towards the end there, you know, it was way over 50 meters of rideable section. There's a really gradual decline down to the ocean and lots of just the right wetness of sands. What a reward for probably the first person to bike pack the whole length of this route and go back, I hope. I think one of the biggest benefits of backcountry camping, living, being like always conscious of water, always conscious of any little resource or any little amenity, is that I could be in a totally junked cabin. I've got a chair and a table, which right now seem like absolute luxuries to me, help to give you a more balanced attitude. Or at least really appreciate the simple things in life. Got to the southern tip of Wonderstrand, so I have completed an out and back. What an amazing experience. The weather's been amazing, great. Tidal issues and all that, just had to learn what to do and when to cross things. The creek crossing this morning was a joke compared to how it felt on the first day, and just the right amount of challenge. There was definitely some steep head walls to get over, a bit of scrambly stuff with the bike in hand, had to carry the bike over my shoulder a couple times, so not a piece of cake, but what a really good experience. And then stayed at, coincidentally, called Paradise Point. Just a beautiful point to hang out on, watch the ocean. But I guess, yeah, if I'm gonna have a message here, I think it's gonna be dare to dream. Like, I've been planning, looking at maps, Google Earth, and just wondering, could this happen? Really happy it went so well, and that it was such an amazing, positive experience. Feel really fortunate. So dare to dream, give it a shot.